Hey, Judy.
How are you today?
Awesome. Thank you so much. My name is Jay Rathman.
Judy Goldberg.
Yep. And welcome to another episode of the most awesome legal marketing podcast that you can find. You can find us all over the web, actually, That Legal Podcast, and all that fun stuff. So thanks for joining us for another episode. We got some really good guests today. We have Phil Virga. This guy is awesome. He's a patent attorney out in Las Vegas. I used to live in Vegas, so I'm a little jealous. He's having all the fun, so we can vicariously live through him. He's a really new client. We've already engineered a quick win for him, and things are moving. He's already ranking on the first page, so I'm pretty excited about that. And he is a solo practitioner, so we'll talk to him. He'll help everybody that's listening understand, kind of what he's going through, right? He's been on his own a little bit, but he's kind of relocated to Vegas, so he's starting over, and he knows exactly what he needs to do. So this is going to be really good advice for everybody.
This is so exciting that he just started.
Yep.
And he's already commenting about the wow feature of the website that you designed. That's fabulous.
So how about we just let it roll, man? Let's jump into the episode and we'll get to Phil.
Okay.
All right.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Legal Authority Podcast, presented by TheLegalAuthority.com. Here are your hosts, Jay Rathman and Judith Goldberg.
All right. Well, let's start the show. Judy Goldberg is with us, as always, our esteemed guest. And she ended up, we became very good friends because you were my very first client. You put me in business and then retired early. And our existing listeners that have heard the other episodes know the whole story. But, for new listeners, Judy was so successful with what we did, she retired like 3 years early to her plan and moved from Connecticut, where she was practicing, down to Boca. And I was already down here, and we have always been good friends. And, she said, well, look, I want to help you doing what you're doing. It's fun. So she's helping us, and she works with our lawyer clients. And, Judy's obviously my co-host of the podcast. So,
well, this is really exciting. I've been on both sides with you.
Yep.
With the advertising, getting that marketing done, and moving my practice along, which has been so fabulous, so successful.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Jay.
Hey, thank you. So today's guest, really cool guy. His name is Phil Virga. Virga. Sorry about that, Phil. He's joining us from Las Vegas. He's live today. How are you, sir?
Good. First, I'd like to thank Jay and Judy for inviting me onto your podcast.
Oh, man, you're welcome. We've been looking forward to having you on for a while because I know that you're a new client, right? So you can maybe speak to kind of what the process is when you start with an agency, the way it should be done, and kind of what your feedback is about the relationship and all that. But, that's part of it. What we really want to know is, when you decided to become a lawyer, and then when you decided to hang out your shingle and go out on your own, and make sure that we're really giving the right advice and feedback to the folks that are listening that are thinking about going out on their own or have just gone out on their own, maybe save them from some pitfalls and, tell them some of the things that did work well for you and kind of how you organize your practice and where you want to take it, right? And we're excited to work with you at our agency because we get to be part of pushing that forward for you. So let's start with that. What made you become a lawyer? When did you know you wanted to be a lawyer?
I worked for Hughes Aircraft. I started my career as an electrical engineer for Hughes Aircraft in their space and comm division. Mm-hmm. And when I was an antenna designer. And when I was working on the multi-feed horn for SSMI, which was a weather satellite, mm-hmm. I had to work with a subcontractor out in Andover, Massachusetts, who was a patent agent. And he had done a bunch of patents. Mm-hmm. And that is where the relationship started with that man. Okay. He would take me out to lunch. He had this little airport over at Lawrence, and we would fly up to Maine for lobster. And then he was the one that kind of put the bug in my ear. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So I worked for Hughes, and then I got multiple degrees from Hughes, a bachelor's and a master's in electrical engineering.
Oh, wow.
And then I went to law school at night in my last thing with Hughes and got my law degree. And then I went out and I started to work for a boutique in Santa Monica called Sislo and Thomas.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And what area of practice were you working on with them? Was it patent and IP?
It was a general. It was only three of us mm-hmm. In Santa Monica, and it was just whatever walked in the door, quite frankly.
Gotcha. So general practice.
It was a general patent. No, it was a general intellectual property practice.
Got it. Okay. So you weren't like doing criminal or family. It was all patent IP related stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Cool. So you
then go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So then from there, I worked for Dan and Don for, I guess, somewhere between 3 and 5 years. And I got an offer from Phoenix Technologies, the BIOS company that boots all these computers.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and I became their director of intellectual property for this software company.
Oh, cool.
And I did that for almost 5 years, 3 to 5 years there. And then we sold that company to Intel.
Okay.
And then from there, I'm trying to think, what did I do? Boy, it's tough when you live as long a life as I have, you know. From there, I went and I worked basically I worked for a firm in Austin, Texas. And we only had one client, that was IBM. So I was almost like an in-house IBM patent attorney.
Gotcha.
And that was once again all done for computer technology.
Got it.
I left there after, I guess, 3 or 5. Seems like every 3 to 5 years I changed jobs.
Right.
Then I went and I worked for Xerox and their El Segundo division. And I worked there for about 3 to 5 years. And then after that, I kind of just struck out and went solo.
Gotcha.
I did overflow work. I did a little bit of work here and there for some law firms, but mostly I just did my own inventors and corporate overflow.
Got it.
So,
And that's sort of where we're at today.
So Phil, was that the pivotal decision, going out on your own, that led to your success?
You know, it's a good question. There was so much interest in my work product that I had. When I left the Austin firm, IBM, I still stayed in Texas for a short period of time, probably another 2 or 3 years. And I did overflow work before I took the job at Xerox. So then when I got, and people kept tugging at me to come back and just, do overflow work or work, for certain of my clients, that when I left Xerox, it just was a natural, there was a lot of work waiting for me out there. And I kind of like working on my own.
Yeah. Did you go through all the normal emotions about like, oh shit, I hope I can bring in enough money to pay the bills and make a living, or were you super confident that you were walking right into a good financial situation going out on your own?
Well, when I left Xerox, I went and I taught law school. I taught patent law at a law school. All right. So that was waiting for me. And that was part-time in the afternoons.
Oh, great.
I was an adjunct professor. Also, there was a man by the name of Irving Caton who did claim drafting seminars. Mm-hmm. And I was one of his, teachers for that.
Okay.
And so, there was a lot of odds and ends. I never really had to.
So you didn't need to pick up clients right away for your law practice because you had other stuff coming in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I also, as soon as I got out, I picked up all kinds of people. I had a lot of friends in the industry. So, I was doing overflow work for Northrop, for Connexin, for Qualcomm. Also, I worked for Tom Chan, and he had the Hughes aircraft portfolio, which was a natural fit for me. He was in downtown LA. So the guy that he had that handled the Hughes aircraft patent portfolio retired, and I came in there and helped him with that for a while.
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah.
No, that's fantastic.
The great thing, I was a solo practitioner for about 25 out of the 35 years that I practiced actively. Now I'm semi-retired. And I found that the pivotal moment for me was deciding to go out on my own. And at that point in time, you've had the training, you have the experience, you have the contacts. But then you start looking at the looming thing about, okay, how do I maintain this progress? How do I expand? So I want to ask you, how has your experience been to this date with Jay and his team with digital marketing?
Well, I can't say enough. I really can't. If you go to the Patent King, which is my virtual law firm.
Yep, we'll put that on the screen, patentking.com.
Yeah, patentking.com. You can actually see it. I'm amazed at how much progress we made. I became a client of Jay's, I think, August? Or
it was pretty recent. It's only been a few months.
Yeah. And when we started, when we turned on when we went on the wire and we went live on the internet, I think I was ranked in the, above 50, quite frankly. And now it's been 6 to 8, or maybe 8 to 10 weeks. I'm now ranked number 4.
Right.
So if you want
Amazing.
to know somebody that really knows how to run the SEOs, these guys know what they're doing.
Yep. Yeah, we wrote a lot of content for you. We built a big website. People that are curious should really go to it. It's one of the coolest websites that we've built. And again, it's www.patentking.com. There's a ton of content up there. It gives you a good idea of kind of what we do, how we do it. But it's important to have a client that understands it too, right? Some clients think that, as soon as you go live, all of a sudden, a week later, you should be ranking number 1. So it's important to set the correct expectations.
Yeah. You have to be a slow horse with the internet. With the Google spider bots, you really have to have patience.
Yep.
You can move fast, but then you're gonna slow down and then you're gonna move again.
Right.
And it's just the way Google operates. If you're using the Google search engines.
Well, it's about building authority, right? Google's not going to rank your site if they don't believe that you're an exact match for what somebody is searching. Like a perfect example of that is nobody goes to page 2 anymore because Google is so good at giving you exactly what you're looking for on your search on the first page.
Yes.
And they're so good at that for a couple of reasons. Number one, they track every search that you do. So they know your style. Like, what are you looking for, right? Because what have you looked for in the past, right? They get to know you. And that algorithm is smarter than anybody I know. But then the other part of that is, you have to have the content and the authority for Google to say, okay, you know what? I think Patent King's the perfect result for what this person's looking for. That's when they serve it up, right? So you have to have those in balance, and you have to understand that. And some people do, some people don't. It's just, we're fortunate.
And I'll have to say this about digital HP or digital horsepower. There's something going on every week.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Whether it's a press release,
stuff.
whether it's an update to the YouTube video, whatever it is, there's always something that is going on that's going to push you a little bit farther.
Yep. Yeah, it's not one big thing that all of a sudden it's all the little things that you do right.
It's all the little things.
So you have a daily team. It's not certainly what I experienced in my early years, where the team purportedly would come to my office. I'd complain, no calls, phones aren't ringing the way I'd want. They'd leave, and that was it. About 6-8 months later, I called again and got the same routine because no one was with me, part of my team, until I met Jay.
Yep.
So I'm glad you're experiencing that same effect.
Yep.
Well, I had a digital marketing team before Digital Horsepower.
Yeah.
And he opened my eyes one day this summer. And I really realized how bad I was being underserved. And that's why I gravitated towards them.
Right. And so far, I think the experience has been good, right?
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is I got a great account manager. So, it's good that you have a focal point.
Yep.
And I think Steven is great, quite frankly.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
He's actually our president.
Yes.
He handles your account himself. I know you guys have a really good rapport. He's in Vegas, too. So we got to get you two together for drinks.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there.
Yep.
I mean, yes.
So let's talk about kind of where you want to go, right? So as we're going down this path and you start getting more and more calls, more and more clients, do you want to stay a one-man show, or do you have an aspiration at this point to maybe get a paralegal and just grow?
We need to do a correction there. I have a litigator, Stephen Healy, who's my heavy hitter.
Right.
He is he's probably one of the best. And Steve has been with me in the Patent King for almost 20 years.
Okay.
And he gets award verdicts in the $2 to $5 million range.
Oh wow!
And he is he's a pro. And then I have another guy, Louis Brande, who was a student of mine 25, 30 years ago that I brought on because he was my best student. But to answer your question, Patent King is almost like a virtual law firm.
Right.
And I do plan to keep building it out as we bring in more work.
Yep. Excellent.
I mean, right now we're just trying to plant our flag in Vegas. I've only been here since July.
Right.
And, so we're trying to, I stripped down the office in Los Angeles and Redondo Beach. And we're now just trying to develop the client base here in Vegas. I still have some older clients that still feed me work out in LA. But what I'd like to do is just become, if you want to know my goal, is to become the number one patent attorney here in Vegas, patent law firm in Vegas.
Well, and here's another thing, right, that I think a lot of people don't realize, or maybe the people that listen to this show because they're lawyers, but what you do is not at a state level. You do it at a federal level. So you can work a case from anywhere in the country. Like somebody here in Florida, like if we needed patent work done or something, obviously we would go to you for advice, but you actually could take our case because it's federal, right?
Well, even more further than that, and something I should mention, I did do a couple of years stint at IP Cardinal, and they were they had a contract with the United States Patent Office in their international division. And I worked as an international examiner for the Patent Office as a contractor. And they call that PCT practice. Okay. So to answer your question, not only are United States patent attorneys, when that's what it says, United States, on the federal level with the patent bar, which is given by the Commerce Department, right, is that we also represent inventors all over the world who want to file in the United States.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Excellent. So you can funnel in business from literally anywhere on the planet.
I get a lot of software work out of Germany.
Right.
Ich
sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Yeah. Yes.
That's funny because I don't speak any German. That's about all I can do in German. I can't even order a beer.
Well, no, the inventors that contact you are pretty much, they're not going to contact you if they don't speak English.
Right.
But there's a lot of people in other countries that want to, the money is here in America. If you have an invention, and let's say you're down in, I don't know, Brazil, I've had Brazilian inventors, and they want to, they want to get a patent here because they're in the process of importing some product that they want to protect. You end up catching those kind of cases.
Right. That's awesome. So,
well, that'll be an interesting marketing issue for you, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely. The bells are already ringing in my head on some stuff exciting that we can do. I think there needs to be some content on your website that specifically speaks to that. So I'm going to have a conversation with our team later today and see what we can develop for that, because I think that your reach can go pretty wide.
Right now, like I say, we're pin dropping here in Vegas. I do, and all right, I'm going to go back to something you said earlier, expanding the practice. Yes. For instance, Stephen is licensed in 5 or 6 states, I think 5 states. So we could pin drop in 5 states, as long as I avoid, go in those markets where I'm not going to compete against your other patent attorneys in those jurisdictions. Mm-hmm. You have a great guy in California. He's just amazing.
Oh, John, you're talking about John Bush?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah, that's another client of ours. He's been with us forever, and I mean, we kill it for him. He's having fun. He's a fun guy to talk to. Whenever we talk to him, we never even talk about work stuff because he does so well. He just wants to talk about other stuff. We have a great rapport.
And a feather in your cap to his success is that now I'm watching him pin drop in other states.
Yep.
So we have right now we're looking at a 3 to 5 state growth factor.
That's awesome. And we know how to do that, right? I mean, we've done that for some of our other
clients. Without a doubt.
So we know how to make that work. So, I'm Phil. I'm super excited at your success, and obviously you've taken a different path than a lot of our other guests that are successful lawyers. But your path is very cool. I like it. Where do you ultimately see this going? How many people do you think you're going to have? Associates, paralegals? What's the sweet spot for you? And revenue wise, right? I mean, what kind of revenue do you?
It's an interesting question because I'm building this organically. Mm-hmm. I would build it as big as I can possibly handle it, but I'm 64, so we'll see where I'm at when I hit 70. And there's a saying out there: patent attorneys never die; they just draft away.
I've never heard that. You've heard that, Judy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I don't know. It depends. All right, the more work I get, because I only have so much bandwidth, I would like to manage a team of about 4 to 6 patent attorneys and agents.
Got it.
And bring in some paralegal help. Stephen has his own team that he manages
mm-hmm.
for the Patent King, and he's got a few people around him. So I let litigation. I don't interfere with Stephen's part of the Patent King practice.
Right. So obviously first goal is probably to build it to about $1 million practice, and then, maybe a $2 million practice, maybe a $3 million practice, just continue to rise, and then maybe settle off somewhere in the 3 to 5 million a year range.
That's right. That's exactly right. When I was in Los Angeles, I was a true pure solo, and I was doing somewhere between 300 and 400, which is about a good range.
Yeah, for a
patent
sure.
attorney for a guy with my level of experience.
Right. So awesome. Well,
no, but you're absolutely right. If you can get up to a couple of million, then when I'm in my 70s, we'll see how strong I hope you like the Patent King. I hope you like the logo. I mean,
sure.
It is a great mark. It's a great mark, especially for SEOs. I
agree.
Yeah, and then the day that I decide to sell the practice, so if you really want to know, if we build it up to the numbers you're talking about, it'll be a very sellable business.
Well, yeah, because not to toot our horn in any way, just take it in the right context, but we're kind of your in-house marketing machine, right? So if we just keep on, pushing your rankings, so you're pushing more phone calls and getting more revenue, your practice is extremely sellable because you have a mechanism in place that continues to develop new business, right? And brings new business in. That's important.
Here's the thing that keeps me up at night. Okay, right now, the practice is slow, but that's because it's brand new to the region.
Sure.
I just know that what's going to happen is a dam's going to burst, and one day I'm going to wake up and it's just going to be a floodgate, and then I'm going to have to deal with that problem.
Right. Well, that's a fun problem. I'd rather have too much on my plate than not enough, right? So
yes, then you have the choice of the clients, the choice of where you go. What I saw with Jay, in my experience, is that I was able, like you are now with Jay, discussing your practice. Where do you want to go? How do you want to do it? How do you want to live? Where do you see yourself tomorrow? That he can facilitate that. It's not just producing a website, doing a little SEO, but actually your marketing guy.
Yeah,
and
you have
the
to
team that's there for
you have to drive relevant traffic to it.
Yeah.
Right. The thing that I always tell people about Google, and if you think about it this way in a very simple fashion, everything you do kind of works around this. There is nowhere else that you can be in front of somebody at the exact moment that they are literally asking for that help. If somebody Googles patent attorney near me, it's not because of any other reason than they want to talk to a patent attorney. Right. Mm-hmm. And so the key is, if you're front and center on that SERP, that search engine results page, they're going to click that. Then when they click it and go to your website, if your content's well organized, it answers a lot of their questions, and it's very easy for them to reach out to you. Your phone number is big. They can click it if they're on a mobile phone and be connected to your office, or they can fill out a little form, telling you a little bit about what they're looking for, which those are actually your better leads. So we love form fills. We push it very hard here. Then that is just the machine that keeps that flow of opportunities coming, right? That's what we can do. We can't help you with what happens once they call you, but we can help you get them to call you, right? That's very specific.
Yeah, once a lead gets on the phone with me, I have about a 90-95% closing rate.
That's great.
I mean, it's because I offer free consultations. I do everything under fixed fee quotes. I offer guarantees, and then I can show them my success rate in the patent office, which is extremly high to get the patent issued.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, you checked all the boxes. Yep. That's great.
So, in closing, Phil Virga, PatentKing.com. You're going to be the number one patent attorney in Las Vegas. We're going to make sure of that. But anything that you want to send off to the people that are listening, again, that are thinking about it going on their own or have just gone out on their own, any pitfalls that maybe that you fell into that you can tell them to avoid, or things that you did that worked great for you and tell them to double down on it. Just any advice for young attorneys.
Yeah, if you're going to be in this business, make sure that your timelines are guaranteed. Okay, people get very anxious if they, if you say, hey, I'm going to do a patent application for you and we'll have it prepared and ready for filing in 4 weeks. Stick to that 4 week. Your reputation in this business is everything. Yep. The other thing too is that don't fear. I remember when I came out as a first year out of law school, I passed my bar. And then Judy, this goes something you said. The first time I went out, that there's that early thing with attorneys where they're reluctant or hesitant because they don't have enough experience to be on sure footing. but always have faith in yourself, and it's the practice of law, right? I mean, law school prepares you to take a bar. It takes decades to get to really understand this field of endeavor. And that's why they call it the practice of law.
Right.
Because you have to practice it.
Yep. And practice makes perfect over time. Right.
And the other thing too is and this is the key to any patent attorney's success or any lawyer's success for that matter, you have to have the right digital media company to put the sales in your win. I
agree with that because everybody Googles everything now. I mean, the yellow pages are not even an
today. It's and I'll tell you, you can really feel it after COVID. After COVID, the brick and mortar is almost vanished now. Yep. I don't even need a brick and mortar. They just want to come to me. They want to know that you're local if they do want to go do a face to face. But COVID changed the world in which we do business. It's now a digital world.
Yeah, it changed it for us too. I mean, our whole team is remote.
Yes.
So
that's right.
All right. Well, Phil Virga,
it was a pleasure. I want to thank both of you guys. You've been great to talk to, and
same here. Thank you so much for joining us.
I look forward to keeping this relationship going until hey, I'm like a Texan. I'm going to die with my boots on. So I will be with Jay. I'll be with Jay.
Hey, man, I'm with you. I'll come down to Texas and we'll meet down there for some barbecue. We'll go to Austin and go hit Austin city limits. I've never been. I've always wanted to go. You can show me around there. And Vegas, I'm going to be there. I mean, I lived there for 7 years. So, but we're going to get you and Steven together for dinner and maybe some drinks. And God, I don't even want to see that credit card bill because I know I'm going to get it. But
well, this is a great visit. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, enjoy the rest of your podcast and your other guests. And I've really enjoyed this, guys. And I want to thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time with us this morning. Phil, you have a great day. And Judy, that does it for another episode of the Legal Authority Podcast. You can go to the legalauthoritypodcast.com the legalauthority.com/podcast. Find out more about it. If you want to have a conversation with Judy or myself about your own digital marketing, there's a form right there that you can fill out and make an appointment. And my book just came out. I wanted to keep this under wraps, but I'm going to announce it now. I just came out with a new book. It's called How to Tip the Scales of Marketing for Your Law Firm, and it's going to be free. I'm going to put it on the website. If you go to thelegalauthority.com/book, you can go there. You pay the shipping. It's like $5, and I'll send you the book for free.
That's fabulous.
Yep.
Oh, great.
So anybody that's going out on their own that's not ready to hire an agency yet, or just not sure, wants to learn a little bit more, that book will tell you everything you need to know about digital marketing. And I think one of the things you'll take away from it is how complicated this can be and why you need to have an expert doing it for you, right? But know enough to be dangerous and keep your finger on the trigger, but have somebody that knows what they're doing. So you'll learn about that in the book. Phil, I'm going to send you a copy of it as well. And we literally
as long as it's autographed, because maybe one day it'll be worth some money.
That's awesome. My mother named me.
You guys.
She named me John Foster Rathman. That's my full legal name. And when I got old enough to ask her, why did you name me John Foster Rathman? And she said, because someday you're going to be president, kid. And it's a presidential name. So I don't know if I'll ever run for president.
There you go.
I'll be president.
I'm going to take off, guys.
You got it.
Day, okay?
You have a good one. Thanks so much, Phil. Have a good one. All right, cool. And for everybody else, thanks for joining us today on this episode, and we will see you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Legal Authority Podcast. As always, you can hear us wherever you get your podcast. Please also make sure that you subscribe so that you're notified for each new episode. If you have a question that you'd like answered on the show, or to talk directly to Judy Goldberg, just go to thelegalauthority.com/podcast. Until next time.